so much for joining us today. My name is Liz Moran. I'm a New York policy advocate with Earth Justice. I am thrilled to be joining lawmakers, clean air advocates, environmental justice organizations, and more who are here today to call on Governor Hochul to stand strong to protect New Yorkers and their clean air, to protect New Yorkers from dirty diesel pollution. Right now, we're watching as every day the federal administration goes blow by blow to roll back common sense environmental protections for everyday people. They are doing this at the behest of wealthy polluters, and it's going to be regular people, regular New Yorkers who pay the price. So we're here to call on Governor Hochul to stand strong for the clean truck rule and defend it against any proposed delay or rollbacks in the budget or otherwise. These are necessary standards to make sure that we're keeping air clean for New Yorkers. I'm blocking a beautiful map that shows the diesel pollution that New Yorkers face every day. These standards are here to make sure that we start to chip away at this pollution. We need to make sure that in the face of this administration, the face of what Congress is looking to do, that New York sets an example for the rest of the country to follow, to make sure that we are saying no to polluter interests and yes to clean air for kids. So with that, I'm going to turn it to some of our legislative allies today. Our first speaker will be Assemblywoman Emily Gallagher.
Woo! Thank you. As we go into the New York City area of this map, you can see, well, you can't really see my district, but my district's in the red. We are one of the most polluted by diesel pollution in the country. That's because we are sliced apart by truck routes, and we've really been trying to reform this over generations, fighting back against the roadways and the bad users of the roadways, but also fighting for a cleaner, greener economy. And this clean trucking standard was a major accomplishment for my district's future. We have so many children with asthma and other health issues, emphysema, lots of lung cancer in my district, and it is because of the fumes from these diesel trucks. The Trump administration is going to decimate our climate protections, full stop. So we need, as New York, to stand as a bulwark against this and to hold the line against dirty diesel fuel. The impacts of diesel are anti-earth and anti-human, and it is time for us to take a stand and hold true to our values as an environmentally forward-thinking state. So let's stay with our reputation, which is that we are one of the climate leaders when it comes to legislation, and let's keep this dirty fuel out of our state budget. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assemblywoman Emily Gallagher. Our next speaker is Assemblywoman Sarah Hannah-Sreta.
Hello everyone, Sarah Hannah-Sreta, Assembly member from the Hudson Valley. I just want to say, first of all, that we should not be using our budget process to move us backward instead of moving us forward.
That's right.
We already passed a law that, by the way, is not asking people to buy electric trucks. It's not asking dealerships to sell electric trucks. It is simply asking manufacturers to very slowly, very reasonably, and very gradually to ramp up the production of these trucks, which is very possible. I can't think of a single reason why this is not possible, especially when 11 other states have already done it. So I'm here to say we need to stop making the budget process a process through which the big industries get to insert their influence of their misinformation campaign. We need to put the people's voice in this project, and that includes defending the laws that we already passed, very reasonable, very possible laws. We are not going back on our climate goals. We are not selling the well-being of New Yorkers, the price tag that is not even placeable on the health of New Yorkers, just because these manufacturers don't want to be told what they should do. But they play an important part in our economy where these trucks are produced and used. So we absolutely get to tell them what needs to happen to protect New Yorkers. Thank you so much.
Chavez.
Yay! My neighbor.
Yes, my name is Claire Valdez. I represent Long Island City, Sunnyside, Ridgewood, and Maspeth, and I am a proud neighbor of Emily Gallagher. And I would also like to point to roughly where our districts are, because we are in the deep, deep red part of this map. My district, District 37, has more mega warehouses than any other district in the entire state of New York. And that is again because so many industries are there. Our districts are so divided up by big trucking routes, and so it is incredibly vital that we move forward with these protections that were passed years ago. We're not just talking about clean trucking standards, we're talking about the CLCPA. We're talking about the very ambitious but also very reasonable and incredibly necessary pieces of legislation and expectations that we put on the books years ago that we have to comply with. There's no time to wait. We don't have another 10, 15 years to get our act together. We have to act now. And we can't back away from the promises that we made to ourselves and to our children and to their children in this moment. And we have a climate denier in the White House. So I'm calling on the governor to hold strong against Trump's attempts to roll back our laws. New York has to lead in this fight. Our constituents, our neighbors depend on it. Thank you.
Woo!
Yeah!
Our next speaker is Assemblywoman Matenis.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, so this is not anything new. We've seen this before. Polluters like to delay until nothing happens. But this time we know that we can't afford to wait. Delaying the act would only cost New Yorkers millions in health impacts, results in even more lives lost from diesel pollution. And we know that in areas like my district of South Brooklyn that's divided by a highway, 1 in 5 children suffer from asthma, and the stakes are even higher every day. Governor Hochul, we're calling on you to stand up to corporate interests that are prioritizing profits over people. And it's time to protect our health, our climate, and our communities. We can stay strong. Let's stand up for New York, and let's defend the clean truck route.
Thank you, Assemblywoman Matenis. Assemblywoman Matenis also carries a very important piece of clean air policy that I want to shout out, called the Clean Deliveries Act, which is going to is a very important piece of legislation. Part of the reason why we need the clean truck rule, all intended to get rid of dirty diesel emissions from delivery trucks. Our next speaker is Assemblywoman Dana Levenberg.
Thank you so much. Yes. I hail from the lower Hudson Valley, and some of the environmental justice communities that are in my district include Peekskill and Ossining, and we have a major truck route going right through my district. We're very close also to the Tappan Zee Bridge, and we know, or the Cuomo Bridge, Mario Cuomo Bridge, Tappan Zee Bridge. But in any case, having these truck routes going through our environmental justice communities, we know how important it is that we continue to focus on these clean air standards and make sure that our trucks are part of that conversation. We cannot start rolling back our standards because of pressure that we're getting from these corporate polluters. We need to stand strong as our federal government is putting all these burdens on states, but also trying to take away our states' rights. So we need to stand strong and make sure that our state, New York, continues to be a climate leader and make sure that we are addressing environmental justice issues and that we are addressing all of the priorities that are in the CLCPA. So let's stand strong with the Advanced Clean Trucks legislation and the ruling, and make sure that we don't roll back any of it in this budget or anywhere else for that matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assemblywoman Levenberg. Our next speaker is Assemblywoman Simon.
So hi, thank you very much. I'm Joanne Simon. I represent the 52nd Assembly District in Brooklyn. So I represent the Brooklyn Queens Expressway. Need I say more? It is a major truck route. It rings my district. We are working very hard to make sure they are not overweight trucks, because that really deteriorates the roadway, including the triple cantilever. But one of the things we learned through looking at this issue for years is when trucks are overweight, they have greater emissions, right? So we had pushback on that, but in fact, that legislation is working. What we now are faced with is corporate entities who run these large trucking firms who basically don't want to comply. They want to make believe that this is not working. It is working. If you are hearing an argument from a big shipping company who uses big trucks, it's false. It's pretty much the way it is. They are making stuff up. They are telling you stuff to scare you. There is no reason to be frightened of this. What we want is to take these pictures, these trucks, and make sure that little boys and girls want clean trucks. And if you take this picture, you see this is a bad truck. We don't like those trucks. No dirty trucks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Simon. I also want to give a shout out to Assemblywoman Seafront Forrest for joining us today. We're also joined by a long list of advocacy organizations. I want to give a shout out to Tri-State Transportation Coalition, Sierra Club, New Yorkers for Clean Power, Environmental Advocates of New York, the New York City Environmental Justice Alliance, and the Union Concerned Scientists, and Agree all the way in the back. So I'm going to start calling our advocate speakers. Our first speaker is Connor Bambrick from New York City Environmental Justice Alliance.
Hi everyone. So we're here today to talk about the Climate Leadership Community Protection Act. The Advanced Clean Trucks rule is a key component of achieving the goals there, but not just the greenhouse gas emission goals. We're really here to talk about the community aspect of it. Communities like those in the South Bronx that are suffering from the highest asthma rates in the nation. Rolling back the Advanced Clean Truck rule will only perpetuate public health harms there and cause even further increased cost to New Yorkers. So, thank you.
Thanks, Governor. Our next speaker, Jess Ensman with Sierra.
Hello. Hello, my name is Jess Ensman. I'm New York's Clean Transportation Lead for the Sierra Club. It's my honor and privilege to represent 100,000 members and supporters of Sierra Clubbers in the New York State area. Recently, Sierra Club and Electrify New York Coalition collected 572 comments voicing their support of New York's Advanced Clean Truck Rule. More than 150 of those folks left personal messages, and I'll take my time today to highlight some of those. Here in the Bronx, pollution has had a particularly horrendous effect on children and warehouses, and highways bring heavy truck traffic to high-density neighborhoods. Childhood shouldn't come with frequent visits to emergency rooms due to asthma attacks. That's Jamie from the Bronx. I am a World Trade Center survivor with lung damage. This implementation of cleaning up truck emissions directly affects my ability to even be in New York City. I moved back to be close to my new grandchildren, Barbara in Brooklyn. I work in the trucking industry. Our industry needs to be held accountable for cleaning up its act. We all have to do our part. Do not delay or undermine ACT. Kenneth in Brooklyn. In the face of the degradation of environmental guardrails occurring in Washington, it's crucial that New York be a stand for protecting the health of all New Yorkers. Please reject any attempt to dilute or reduce the ACT rule. John and Carmel. With everything going on at the federal level attacking climate solutions, please do not delay the implementation of this critical program in New York. We are counting on lawmakers to hold the line. Michael in East Norwich. Thank you.
Woo! Our next speaker, Jackie Cohen with Tri-State Transportation Campaign.
Thank you. I'm Jackie Cohen, Director of Climate and Equity Policy at Tri-State Transportation Campaign. We support this rule. It's urgent to enforce this rule on time as expected because we cannot wait another year, another day to decarbonize the transportation sector. What we want to focus on when we talk about delay is who would be harmed by delay. It would be members of the Bronx, community members in the Bronx, where the asthma rates are 8 times the national average. It's seniors and people with chronic illness and respiratory illness. It is children who are at greater risk of developing asthma if they live near a highway with polluting trucks. It's warehouse workers and drivers themselves that have to be, surrounded by diesel fumes while they're at work every single day. So these are the people that are impacted most when we delay clean air, good regulation. We know that Governor Hochul has been strong on congestion pricing and has told the federal government to keep the cameras on when it comes to that clean air protection. We're saying we want Governor Hochul to tell the federal government that the rule stays in place and that we're continuing with implementation of ACT. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie. And our next speaker is Stephen Higashide. Thank you. With the Union of Concerned Scientists.
All right. Thanks for being here. My name is Stephen Higashide. I'm the Clean Transportation Program Director for the Union of Concerned Scientists. I'm also a New Yorker, resident of the Hudson Valley. For more than half a century, the Union of Concerned Scientists has been putting science into action to make sure our world is safer, healthier, and more fair. And the Advanced Clean Truck Rule moves us in all of those directions. We know that transportation is the largest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions in the country. We also know it has enormous impacts on public health. And as you've heard today, there's so many communities who suffer from a double or triple impact because they may be situated by ports and the associated truck traffic. They're near the highways that those trucks travel on. And now they're being impacted by more and more warehouses, including where I live in the Hudson Valley. We're seeing a proliferation of these kinds of mega warehouses. That's why we need this rule. Earlier this year, UCS took a deep dive into the clean truck market, and it's amazing the progress we've seen in the technology. Looking at battery electric trucks, for example, 7 or 8 years ago, these were largely concept vehicles. Today, they are hard at work doing all sorts of jobs. There are electric tractor trailers taking food and beverages from bottling facilities to grocery stores. There are moving companies using electric box trucks to move people into their apartments. Companies like Frito-Lay and Amazon and the U.S. Postal Service are using electric trucks and vans to move all sorts of cargo. And it's because of rules like ACT that we are seeing this technological innovation. So now is not the time to roll things back. When New York was contemplating this law in the first place, UCS members wrote in support. These are folks like climate scientists, doctors, public health professionals. That's because they knew that this law protects our environment, protects our public health. It'll literally save lives and keep people out of the hospital. So as a New Yorker, and on behalf of the Union of Concerned Scientists and our members, just calling on Governor Hochul to stand strong. Thank you.
Ooh, thank you. And our final speaker is Deb Peck-Keller with ACE NY.
Woo! Thanks. So this is more than an environmental rule. The Advanced Clean Truck Rule is a public health rule. 17% of Bronx children have asthma. 11% of New York City's children have asthma. And that's compared to a national childhood asthma rate of 6.7. Diesel emissions are causing harms across our state and especially in our cities. The electrification of delivery trucks is happening now. It is feasible, and the majority of truck routes in our state are under 100 miles with charging back at their depots overnight. We cannot move our highways out of our cities, but we can move our trucks to be clean and electric. Thank you.
Thank you. Woo! Great. Thank you all. Great job, everybody.